Okay, welcome
Yay!
everyone. I'm still trying to be sure we are live here before I continue. Okay, we're live. Okay, welcome everyone. You're welcome to this session, this strategy section on offline real estate masterclass. Okay, so if you are watching this now, if you're currently on the live, or you'll be watching this later, you will really find this insightful. Now, we've been doing this session for about 4 months now, and the idea for these sessions is not just to do another webinar. These are sessions that have been carefully selected so that you can have in-depth knowledge in a particular field. We started with mortgage. We also did masterclass for the law side. We've had like sessions on, I don't know, is it my sound? Can you hear me properly?
Yeah, I was going to say that I'm hearing some sort of glitching
Okay.
from.
Can you mute from your end? Then maybe when I'm done, you can unmute yourself. I think that works.
All right.
Okay, perfect. Okay, hi everyone. You're welcome to this session. I'm really happy to have you here. So for the past 4 months, we've been having these sessions every month. I think we started with mortgage, the next one with investing in Lagos masterclass. Last month we talked about agriculture as an asset class, and we dealt in depth with palm plantation. Now these sessions are not just random sessions that we just want to do, right? These are sessions that we are bringing in so that you can have in-depth knowledge in a particular field, right? There's a lot of noise in the Nigerian real estate market. So the essence of this webinar is to bring people who are experts in those fields so you can hear first-hand information from them. So today we are talking about off-plan real estate masterclass. Now, um the off-plan market is an excellent way to enter into the real estate market because you get to pay way below rather the market value. So if in a location a completed property is selling for 300 million, with an off-plan you can get in at 250, 220, or even 200 million naira, right? So your property gets to appreciate as the construction keeps going on. Okay, so that's what we're going to be finding out. And because of that, people have also said, oh, they've got scammed, they pay before the project starts, and at the end of the day, they don't get a finished project. So everything is what we're going to be looking at right now. Mrs. Angela Ejim, she works with a real estate firm that they have completed projects back to back. Like I knew when they did their first project, and currently they are about on their fifth or sixth or seventh project, and they have completed back to back. They tell you 12 months, they're completing by the ninth month. Like they have shown track record of delivering. So I had to bring her here to tell me what is the secret with companies that deliver and companies that don't deliver. Okay, so you are also going to be getting first-hand information on that. And with that, I'm going to be handing over right now to Mrs. Angela Ejim, where I'm going to asking her some questions. Of course, she will start with an overview of the off-plan market. What is an off-plan market? And before I forget, she's an author of a book. She wrote a book about the off-plan real estate market in Lagos, the do's and don'ts, what to do and what not to do. So I'm going to be attaching the link to her book in this live session. It's going to be in the description. So if you would like to get that ebook, just go to my description and the link will be there for you to make a purchase. All right. So thank you very much. Over to you, Mrs. Angela. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Joanne. Thank you for having me here. Um, I think it's a good place to say hello, everyone that is live watching us right now, listening to us, and those that will be coming later. So, yeah, we are here today to talk about off-plan real estate investment. Off-plan real estate investment happens to be one of the strategies, to enter into the real estate market. I hope I'm audible enough. I know sometimes I can be a very calm talker. So, yeah. So off-plan real estate investment, is an investment strategy. As we keep, going on in the conversation, we would understand why it's an investment strategy for a lot of investors. You know, so yeah, when you are entering into the real estate market, the first thing you should ask yourself is, why am I coming? Why do I seek for this investment? What are my investment goals? What do I, stand to achieve? What are my long-term plan or my short-term plan? So by the time you're able to define what your goals are you buying to hold? Are you buying for return on investment, or are you buying for just return on equity? So there's a difference between return on investment and return on equity. So by the time you're able to figure out what exactly are your investment goals, then you'll be able to now decide what strategy do I need to get into the real estate market. So for you that you probably want appreciation, you want something to hold for a long time, you maybe you are restricted with resources, but then you are interested in going into real estate, owning a property to your name. If you are in that category, then the off-plan real estate investment strategy should be, like your number one on the list to consider. And like Joanne said, as we go further, we would find out why off-plan real estate should be that strategy you should be considering. So, what is off-plan real estate investment? Off-plan real estate investment is, basically getting into the property market with a minimum reservation deposit. More like you are getting into the market where you are buying the vision of a developer, because when you are depending on the stage of the off plan you are going into, of which is something we should also talk about. So you are going into the market with the vision of the developer, because when you are buying off plan, some people buy off plan when there is nothing at all on site for you to see. Some people buy the information and details they can find, on the flyer. So if you are going into the off-plan real estate market on that level, so you are basically buying the vision of the developer, you are buying the trust, you are buying what have been sold to you. So you are buying in belief and trust, right? So basically, off-plan is buying, a project before it is completed. That's what buying off-plan means. I don't know if I've captured that, Joanne. I don't know if I
Yes,
should
yes.
keep flowing or I wait for your questions. I really don't know at
Okay.
what
I,
point to
I think
stop.
I think you should actually keep flowing. Give us like the relevant information that we need. And if in between I have a question, I'll let you know.
Oh, okay, that's fine. Okay, so like I said, our plan is buying into the vision of the developer, the integrity of the developer, the credibility of the developer, and all that. Buying into a property before it is being completed. So, what are the benefits or the importance of buying an off plan? Buying an off plan helps you, for people that don't have loan like a lump sum of funds, at once. Maybe people that have their fund comes in at a particular period of time in a year or month or so. Upland is, that investment strategy you should look into. So you are not funds constrained in going and having that property goals or building an investment portfolio as you would like to have, and more especially in economy like Nigeria, where you know capital preservation is becoming, a thing of worry. What your money can afford for you today may no longer be what that same money can afford for you tomorrow. So that property you are looking at that you are interested in, and you are saying, oh, I need to gather the money so that I'll go get it. Surprisingly, when you come back tomorrow, the price you once was told is no longer the price. So what Upland helps you do in that scenario is that it helps you lock in the price. And most times when you are buying an Upland investment, because of the risks that it already poses. So off-plan helps you to buy below the market value. So it's more like the developer is telling you their vision, and because you bought the vision of the developer, what the reward for you in that transaction, in that bargain, is you buying below the market value. And like Joan said earlier, for instance, you are buying a property that is what is supposed to be worth, like say 250 million naira in the market. If you are buying that property off plan, you are definitely going to be buying way below the market value for that property. And depending on the construction stage that you meet the off-plan property, that's what is going to determine the price at which you meet the property. So I'll give you an example. So in our 2.0 project, when we first started that project, the current market value for a two-bedroom apartment then was around, say, 50 million naira. And so the upland value was now 45 million naira. Aside that, there was an off-taker discount that we had, say about, I think, 5%. So that will now, afford you that property for, I think then, for 42.750 million naira. This was like in 2023, yeah, because that project was delivered in 2024. So we had this client, a diaspora client that keyed into the off-plan project at that level. That's to say that a client bought the project when we just launched out, even before we mobilized to site. So that client bought that property for that discount rate. But could you believe that in the next, say, 3 months, when the project have started the foundation, the project was already selling at 50 million naira. So it means that people that keyed in, at that level, are not gaining the same return on investment as the person that bought. So that's to say that in buying off plan, it also determines when you entered into the market. At the what stage did you enter into the off plan market? It's also very important. So yes, another importance of buying off plan is aside the fact that you get an opportunity for a flexibility in payments. You are able to spread your payment across the construction period. See, if the project for us that usually have 12 months, timeline for our construction, so you have 12 months to spread your payment. So, and that also is determined by when you came into the market. Like I said earlier, if you were the type that came in when the project just started, so you have 12 months. If you came in when the project is already 3 months gone, so you have that's like 8 months, right, left to pay. So yeah, that's how it works. That's how it works. Okay. Another thing I like to talk about when you are considering, off-plan investment, as beautiful as it may sound, like every other investment, is every other investment has risks attached to them. So you just need to understand, the level of risks. Is this something I'm ready to, to go into? What do I need to do from your own, from my own end to get? So you need to also understand that. So in summary, going into off-plan investments, offers you early buyer pricing. It gives you payment flexibility. It gives you potential capital appreciation. And if you are someone that is a flip buyer, what I mean by a flip buyer is some people just invest, in real estate, off-plan investment, just for that appreciation they get, and then resell maybe at the completion rate, and then go on to the next project. There are people that are like that as well. So yeah. Okay.
Okay, so I have a question. I think I have a couple of questions here.
Okay.
Can you mute your mic so you hear me properly? I don't know. There's a sound interference. Okay. So I hear you. Like, I've heard everything that you've talked about, the benefit and all. But how can a client evaluate this developer before committing their funds? Because that's what a lot of people say. Oh, I paid, but no project is anywhere to be found. Nothing has been delivered to me. They told me 12 months, but in 24 months, they are yet to deliver. Like, so how do we know a developer to commit our money to make sure that they are going to deliver? You have to unmute your mic.
Yeah, I've unmuted. I forgot. Okay, so that's a very good question because when it comes to real estate investment, a lot of people talk about due diligence. That's for people that are savvy with real estate investment. Talk about due diligence on the property. That's where some people get their lawyers involved, even surveyors. A lot of people don't know that it's even important to get your surveyor involved in the process of due diligence. Now, when it now comes to buying an off plan, so your due diligence does not just end on the documentation, the location, and all that. You need to also do your due diligence, on the developer. So, in trying to do that due diligence, there are some very important questions you need to ask yourself. Okay, so one of those questions, number one, is what project have this developer completed before? What physical project can you see? What was the delivery timeline? What's the quality of the construction? What kind of materials do they use? Okay, so have you been able to see or visit any site of the developer before, maybe an ongoing project, even if you've not seen a completed one before? Okay, so what do previous buyers say about the developer? What their experience is like with the developer? So you also need to figure that out. What do you hear about the integrity of the developer? There are some developers. But yesterday, I was personally watching a podcast, on YouTube. This is a celebrity investor and a celebrity agent. We're having the same conversation, about investing in real estate with a developer, and it didn't end as the client was promised. And you can imagine that this was a celebrity, and the company, the way they treated the client, and he was now wondering, so if me as a public figure could be treated like this, I didn't get the investment I keyed into, and my money is nowhere to be found. In fact, he was told that there is a certain percentage that will be deducted from the money, and before he will be paid. And even in the payment, they were going to split the payment in batches before he would get it. So in his head, he's calculating, and this was like in 2021. So remember we said earlier that what your money can buy for you today, just that same amount cannot afford you, the same thing tomorrow. That is possible. So imagine now that the money has even lost value. That money cannot buy the same property he was trying to purchase that time. And to make matters worse, he still lost part of the money. So that's the reason why, we need to take our time to, do a proper due diligence on the developer. And the things I mentioned earlier are some of these checklists you can ask questions, ask the right question, ask in the neighborhood. At least one or two people, in that location, in that neighborhood should have something to say, concerning that developer. You know. So yeah, basically that's what you should look out for when you're trying to invest in an off-plan investment, when you are doing your due diligence on the developer. Did I answer your question?
Yeah. And guys, if you also have questions, you can drop it in the comments. Angela,
Exactly.
can you mute your mic?
Okay.
Okay. Yeah. The answers to the questions are very good. So if you also have questions, you can leave the questions in the comment section. She will definitely see it and she will go through them. Okay, so the next question I
Sorry,
want to ask.
I'm so sorry to cut you short. Okay, I was also going to say that please, I mean, if they can also try and get the book, because we are here, we are on postcard, and we're working with time. I'm trying to rush a bit, so I may not capture everything in detail, but that book has everything captured in details with examples and all that. Thank you.
Yeah, that's fine. I would add the link to the ebook in the description of this video. So whoever is watching it now or later in the future will definitely get access to the link. So what I wanted to ask is, okay, you've talked about the due diligence checklist that every investor should use, which is understanding the developer, the timeline, their track record, the projects that they've done before. So what are the other, aside from knowing the developer's track record, what are the other checklists that clients should be worried about, like building approvals? Because I know there was this story that I heard about last year, where a developer, I think it was on a podcast as well, where the developer said most people go into construction without getting building approval. That because the timeline for building approval, it takes a lot of time, I guess, from the Lagos State government to approve your building approval. So the timeline is usual because they probably had borrowed money from the bank and they have to start construction because the interest is already, running and all of that. So aside us understanding the developer, their track record and every other thing, what are the other checklists that we should know that a project must have? Because I understand that, oh, you have to have building approval. I also know that at some point in your construction process, there are agencies from the Lagos State government that come to check if if the standard of your building rather is in line with the building approval given to you. So what are the general other checklists that clients should look out for when putting in effort into an off-plan project? And also, are clients allowed to come for inspections on their projects? If the company is trying to build, are clients allowed to bring their engineers? Okay, let me test the quality of what you are doing and all of that. So I want us to have like a full overview of the due diligence process and the other things that clients need to know basically about the whole due diligence process before we can go to the next question.
Okay, thank you so much, Joanne, for that question. So yes, it's very important for approval documents to you know um, get out before a developer should move to site. And I'll also give an example of an instance we had. You know, the moment I believe that the moment you know that you are going to, as a developer, is going to you know build or work, have a project on a particular location, before the project should be out there in the market, for sale, the approval procedures should have been taking place. Do you understand? So even if you are, you are, should I say, forced, or you have to start marketing the project because the fund needs to start coming, in, so that, when everything is set, there's funds already to mobilize to site immediately. So the approval process should have, been almost settled. Maybe you are certain that you just need like a week or two for the maybe the document, the necessary paperwork are already done before you mobilize to site. Like you mentioned earlier, that's not the case with a lot of developers. Some people get loans from the bank and they need to speed up to get their funds back. But unfortunately, this is in a country where we are. We know that policies can change, things can just change overnight, and that's where you get a lot of developers get affected and being taken aback. So yes, as an investor, you must ensure that if you are carrying out a due diligence on a normal or a completed property, let me put it that way, that's the right word to use, you should be even more careful when you are carrying out your due diligence with an off plan. Don't leave any stone unturned. Don't be casual about your due diligence at all. So it is very important that you can lay hold of the approval documents. It's very important before you venture into an off plan, after you see the title document, make sure you get the approval document. Another thing I know a lot of investors, even agents, don't even know is that you should also request for the soil testing results. That's another thing they do, the soil testing results. Then you ask a question to say, investors, agent, and their engineers, are they allowed to come from time to time to, yes, to inspect the project? Of course, it's very allowed. If you find a developer that won't allow you to come with your engineers to inspect the quality and the integrity of the material that you are using, then it's already questionable. That means you are doing something that is not right. Because if you are very sure of what you are doing, you don't have anything to hide. You are happy to even have your clients, your investors coming to see what you are doing, because it's going to encourage them and push more to even commit to their payments. You get, so yeah, it's something every developer that know what they are doing would welcome.
Okay, amazing. Before we move forward, there's a question here. So someone is asking, is it possible for one to recover their investment in case of a failed project?
Okay, then again, that is also 100% determined on the developer in question. All right. Remember that before you go into any investment, you should have had one or two agreement, one or two terms and contracts that you may have signed with the developer. And I know that in these parts of the world, most times we don't like to read contracts. We don't like to read documents. But in situations like this, you just have to learn. If you can't afford a lawyer to go through the contract for you, you know, one after another, line by line, to make sure that every term that are spelled there, you are clear about it before you go ahead to sign. Because in some cases, some developers would have protected themselves in the contract. There is something we call an indemnity clause in the contract of sale. In that indemnity clause, it's supposed to protect your interests and the interests of the developer, because it's not just the developer that might breach a contract. An investor too might breach a contract, but that indemnity is clause is such a way that everybody is, fairly and equally factored in the transaction. If this and so and these terms is not met by the developer, what 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 um what is the developer liable to? If so and so is not met by the investor, what is the investor liable to? So you must look out for an indemnity clause when you are going into an off-plan real estate transaction. You must make sure that clause is answered. You also have to check to see that your interest is being factored, because some people will just, put that indemnity clause just to cater for the interest of the developer and not that of the buyer. So for this question that you asked me now, it will be written there that if the project goes wrong or something goes wrong, that maybe the investor is losing certain percentage of money. Meanwhile, the investor is already losing by not even having the project, at all. Because like we said earlier, what your money can afford to you, yes, afford for you rather yesterday or today, that same money cannot afford you tomorrow. So you are already losing your capital is already, diminished. It has not been preserved in any way. Your capital has not appreciated in any way. So yes, that indemnity clause is one of the clauses you should look out for when you are going into a real estate investment, to make sure that whatever your concerns are is also captured in. So when anything goes wrong, you are not 100% losing, because at the end of the day, when something goes wrong, you still lose. So, but yeah, so it doesn't get really bad. Okay.
Okay, amazing. Okay, so what you're trying to say is before committing your money to any project, you have to make sure that in the contract of sale. Now, for people who don't understand what she's talking about, contract of sale is, in fact, first of all, before you even get into any project, there's what we call an offer letter. You can use the offer letter to have like an overview of what's in for you and all of that. But the contract of sale has a more in-depth description of what the project looks like, right? So your contract of sale, like you said, a lot of people don't like to read that contract of sale. So if you know you don't like reading it, either give it to your realtor. So I'm a realtor. I go through every detail. I read it line by line. But some people don't. So you can give it to a lawyer because there are terms there that they usually use that you might not be familiar with. So you can give it to your lawyer to go through and make sure that you are protected, right? The developer will try to protect themselves. You also want to protect yourself. Okay, if you don't deliver in 12 months, as you said, what is in for me, right? And also sometimes, even there are times that even the clients, they default. A client will tell you, oh, I want to make payments within 6 months. And at 24 months, they've not even paid for anything, right? There are also clauses there. They'll tell you that, oh, if you don't meet up your payment within 6 months or 12 months, we're going to take 30% of the money that you have paid and blah, 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 right? So it's very important that you go through this contract before signing to be sure that every detail is checked. All right. We have another question here. Another question says the instances you cited seems like an 11% profit margin between buying off plan and when the property attains proper market value. Can it be way more, maybe at a more elementary level of the property? Okay, so I think I understand what this person is talking about. So let me rephrase the question so you can understand it properly. So
I
the
think I
person is
understand the
saying,
question.
you understand it, right? Okay, so you can go ahead.
I think it was from the first example that I gave about the person that bought. Okay, I'm just that instance I gave. I think I stopped at the level where the project was still ongoing. As at when that project was completed, the project he bought at say I think 42 point something. The project was already selling for 65. Yes, at the time that the project was
You
completed.
can also use the
Yes,
instance of
yes, I
of
have
my own. Yeah.
a lot of other instances too. Like I also have a client that keyed into one last year, and the client bought a 2 and a 3 bedroom apartment. So the client keyed into the project the same before mobilization to site. So the client bought. I'll try to see if I also remember someone that bought maybe halfway so that you do the comparison of the acquisition at the end of the day. So this client bought the 2 bedroom at say 70. Yes, 70, bought 2 bedroom 70, bought 3 bedroom 80. The project is now completed and the project is selling 2 bedroom in that location for 120, between 100 and 120. 3 bedroom is now selling for 130. Even the client could not even believe that, wow, that's like massive, So this same client again, I think I just remembered another incident. So this client bought one another project in 2023. The project was around 40, I think 40, just a little bit below 45. The client bought. So as at the time that the project was completed, the client came to see what they have bought. So when the client came, the client loved what they saw. So they wanted to buy a second unit. Unfortunately, it was just I think one unit left on the ground floor, and the client wanted to buy. So you can imagine someone that bought something, a property in the same compound for around 45 is now buying 50 something, 60. So that's the power of plan.
Okay. Just to add to that, the prices get to increase at certain stages. Just like she rightly said, when they've not done anything in the property, they've not even started foundation and all of that, they can come in as an entry price of 50 million, for example. Immediately the foundation hits the ground, they will tell you is increasing to 55 million or 60 million because the cost of construction, they need to add it into the money, right? So you can't say, oh, before construction, because I get a lot of questions like that. I currently have a bungalow I'm selling. They're like, why do you want to increase it? What is making it increase? It has to increase because there are people who bought before they started the gatehouse. Is money they are using to do the gatehouse, is money they are using to do the drainage, is money they are using to build the homes itself. And Nigeria is running on an unstable economy. Cement of last month is different from cement of this month. So they have to price the property at the reoccurrence of how much they are spending. So if you pay 50 million before foundation, during foundation phase you are paying 55 million, during the first floor they tell you it's 60 million. So at the end, so it depends on when you enter the market, right? So if you're entering the market when they're on the second floor, of course you're going to pay like 60 million, and that's way more than the person who has paid 50 million. Okay, and you are looking at completion almost 90 million. The one I sold in your property, we closed at 90 million naira. I think when you guys started it was 75 million, if I'm correct.
Yes, yes, yes. So
Exactly.
it's more like the level at which you enter into the off plan investment is, it's more like you might be the one taking the hit for whatever the market is saying at that time. You get, so like you rightly said, cement is now 15,000. You know, it's crazy, and it's not just cement that is going up. Other building materials is going up. I remember the time that client had that. Thankfully for the company too, because even the company bears the heat, especially for a developer that is has reputation and is building a credible brand. Because some people will just come out to tell after you've made your payment, but work for the company where I work. As if you have already made your reservation deposit, no matter how the market has really gotten so tough, they don't come back to tell you that you can't buy the property for that price they've given you before. No, the only the only unfortunate thing is for those people that are now coming after that price, they are the ones that are going to bear the brunt of the increase. But they make sure that they keep the price for the same way the people that key in. I think that's their own way of appreciating people, to say that thank you for believing us, for keying into the project, at the level you never saw anything, but you believed us. You saw something we've done before, and you believe that we are going to replicate the same thing. So that's how the off-plan market works. So it's more like, I think off-plan sometimes works like cryptocurrency. You have to be smart to play the game right. You come today, the market is friendly, it's high, you know, it goes down and off like that.
Okay. I think the only difference is real estate will not come down. Cryptocurrency would it will come down.
Never comes down. So in real estate, the real estate is the time you meet it, that's your own down. It never comes down. It keeps going and going and going. It never comes down. Yeah. So when you meet it, is the level at which you enter. It keeps increasing. So even that project you talked about, you just sold now. They're not selling that same project for that amount anymore, 90. In fact, there's an off plan, the 5.0 you did a YouTube video for, that we are marketing for 90. That project is now being sold for 95 off plan. So
Okay. I think Mrs. Angela Ejim has covered quite a lot in this matter. Angela, can you please help me mute your mic?
okay.
Okay, so I think Mrs. Angela Ejim have covered quite a lot on this off-plan matter. Let me see if we have more questions. Okay, there are no more questions. So let me do like a recap in case you joined late. So she says that the off-plan market is still a good strategy to come into the real estate market, especially because number one, it gives you lower entry price. If a particular location is selling for 50 million, you can get in way below like 30 million, 35 million. And another thing is, if you are not in a hurry to move into your home, right? If you need to move into your home like December this year, why buy a fully completed project for 90 million when you can still get that project for like 80 million, or so you get to save like a few millions to do the furnishing of the home and all of that. And another thing is it gives you avenue to spread your payment. So once you make your down payment, you can spread your payment throughout the construction process, and you also have an opportunity to come and check what they are doing. Okay, you can come with your engineers, come with your family members, come and check. Why are you people putting this one here? Why are you doing this one here? They will answer you. They are at your service. They have your money, so they are going to answer you. Okay, so
Okay,
I think
sorry, I just remember something. I wanted to just chip in while you were just talking now. Where you're talking about coming to check why they are, building and all that. Off-plan real estate investment is more like you giving people your money to build for you. You are chilling, you are relaxing, and people, are doing the dirty work on your behalf. So, and another beautiful thing about off-plan is if you want a bit of a twerk to your own unit, you can actually request for it. So, for example, we have a client that bought one of our projects, and because we mostly use white tiles for kitchen and bathroom, she said, "I don't want white tiles, I want black," and that will be done for her at no cost. No, but if you are requesting for something that maybe is maybe beyond what the developer is doing, maybe something like really, really extra that you may want, that might maybe attract some other little cost. But if they are just basic features like maybe coloring and all that you want yours to be different, you have that opportunity and privilege to request for it. I just thought to add that. Thank you.
amazing. Thank you. I think we've covered everything. Like you've covered everything from due diligence, construction timelines, the importance of investing in off-plan projects, and all of that. So if you're watching this video right now, or you're going to rewatch this video, this company, she works with Dunhill. Dunhill, that's the name of the company, Dunhill Limited. They are
Yeah,
specialized in
don't
building. Okay,
spelled as,
Don.
because some people get confused that when you say downhill. So let me just spell it out. DAWN. Yes,
Okay.
DAWN.
Yeah.
Downhill. HILL Homes
Okay.
Limited. Yeah.
Okay. Okay.
Thank
So
you.
she works with Dunhill Homes Limited. When I tell you this company delivers, I've sold their property. I can tell you for free. They deliver back to back, and they deliver quality standards of apartments. They specialize in apartments, 1 bedroom, 2 bedroom, 3 bedroom. Hopefully, they get into terraces or semi-detached in the future. But currently, and I have a lot of their videos on my page. And their apartments is anytime I post their apartments, I always get compliments. Oh, this is the best apartment I've seen in Lagos. This is that, this is this. And when you also see it on site, you will see a lot of intentionality in the building. I tour a lot of homes. In a week, I tour at least 7 homes in Lagos every week. So I can tell you when I see a home that was built properly and the one that wasn't built properly. So if you're looking to invest in the off-plan market in Lagos and you're looking towards apartments and all of that, they are your plug. All right. So you can get in contact with me if you need projects. And funny enough, most of their projects get sold out even before they start. That is how much people have trusted them. Currently, they have a project, I think it's about 20 units. The property is not even completed yet. I think it will be completed in December or so. They just have 4 units left. 16 people cannot be wrong.
If you know, there was one project that actually came out, I think in 22, that was our 3.0 project. I was actually in my holidays after we finished the 2.0, and a lot of people liked it, was all over the internet and all that. That project actually got sold out in 2 weeks. Like, I didn't get to sell anything in that place. It was so funny. Yes, because usually at least I get to sell, something in all our projects, but that particular project, it was in during the holiday. My boss just called. They said she sold out. I'm like, wow. So before we resumed January, there was nothing left there again. So yeah, very true. Most of our project gets sold out before it gets completed. And the amazing thing is that when it gets completed and people are already seeing the beauty, the ambience and all that, and they're now coming to make inquiries, I want to purchase, and you tell them it's sold out, they are surprised, like, I was literally seeing this project every day. It was more like they were waiting for when this project will be completed so that I'll come and get something. And then when they are coming, there's nothing left, to be bought anymore. So yeah, if you find a good developer, that know what they're doing, believing, based on everything we've talked about, it's actually for me, I've so much loved the investment strategy that for me it's like the best way, my best entry into getting into the real estate market.
All right. Thank you very much for honoring this invitation. I really, really appreciate. Like I said, guys, she wrote an ebook. Like she has a comprehensive guide on the off-plan real estate market in Lagos. So you really want to get that book and read it. I'm going to attach the link to this live session. It's going to be in the description section. So you can just go there, click on it, it's on seller, and just buy the ebook and read it properly. I know Nigerians, we don't like to read, but if you
Exactly.
can
I was just ready to say because that book is about 91 pages. I know that is for sale on seller, but because of how passionate I am about upland real estate, I don't even mind. I have a slide that is just, I think, about 20 something pages thereabouts. It's more like that book summarized in those slides, and it's very short, explanatory as well. So everything just compressed in that little slide. Because I was actually thinking that, our section tonight was going to be like a presentation. So I made a presentation on it. So I could also send you that link so people can easily and quickly glance through that since it's easier. So for people that will not want to go through the hurdles of reading the 91 pages of my book. Thank you.
all right, amazing. That's fine. So you can send me the link to the ebook itself and to this presentation as well. So we'll be having two links. Okay. How lucky are you guys? Two links. Okay, thank you everyone for joining this live session. And we'll be having this from time to time, just like I said. The whole idea is the Nigerian real estate market is filled with noise, it's chaotic, everybody's giving advice, but you don't get to actually hear from people doing the work and delivering. So this webinar, these live sessions that we're having is all about you gaining clarity before you invest or even after you've invested, just for you to understand how the market works. Okay. So we're going to be having this again next month. Do well to subscribe to the YouTube channel, like, share, comment. And if you want to get a property in Lagos, like I said, I tour at least 7 projects in Lagos across Aja, Lekki, Ibejuleki, and all of that. So we actually have a documentary coming up tomorrow. I'm documenting the Lekki Deep Sea Port, the Dangote Refinery, and all of that. So you can also subscribe to the YouTube channel, turn on your post notifications. So when I upload the video, depending on how fast my team is with editing it, you will definitely see it in another 1 week or 2 weeks. It will be uploaded on the channel. All this is to give you an extensive overview of the real estate market in Nigeria, but especially with Lagos. Okay. So thank you very much for watching. Thank you, Mrs. Angela, for honoring our invitation. And see you
Thank
guys
you so
on the
much.
next
Thank you
video.
for having